big campers are ready? Okay, we're meeting some pretty special wildlife today. But I need everyone to stay seated. Please. There we go. My name's Shauna. I'll chat with you, and my friends are going to bring out one and maybe two. We'll see what happens. A very important creature that actually helps keep our environment really healthy and actually creates different habitats for other wildlife, and that is our North American beaver. Can you see her? There she goes. Her name is Justine Beaver. If you're old like me, you get that joke. And you can see her now that she's out of the water, especially the artists take a really good look at her body and all the different adaptations she has before she jumps in. You're going to notice that she has yellow teeth. Right? Now these are rodents. The beavers are rodents. It is the second largest rodent in the world. What's the largest rodent in the world? Capybara, exactly. But this is the largest rodent in North America. So it's our largest rodent. And those teeth that you can see while she's chewing and following just around, like I said, are yellow. Being a rodent means she has ever-growing teeth, so they constantly grow, but she does wear them down when she's chewing on that bark, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the yellow is because they have an iron-rich enamel over it to keep them extra, extra strong, so they don't crack when they're doing that chewing that we're talking about. She's walking around up here, so you can really get a look at her feet. Her front feet kind of look more like our hands, and she kind of uses them that way. Of course, she's walking on them a little bit, but they are able to walk bipedally, which means just on their back feet, kind of like we just walk on too. And that helps them when they're carrying logs around and just need to use that body weight. And then they use their front feet more like hands to hold their food, to hold the logs. They also use their mouth as well. And then the back feet, well, they're webbed. What other animal has webbed feet?
Duck.
Ducks, exactly. Okay, ducks, yeah. So ducks use it to help them swim. So same with the beaver. She swims with just those back webbed feet. A lot of times when she's in the water, you can't actually see that, but when she's walking around, you get a really good look at those great big webbed feet. Now, when she is swimming, she doesn't use her front feet at all. She kind of rests them in front of her, and she uses those back feet just to glide really easily, way better than we can. And then make sure to look at the tail and draw the tail if you're an artist and you want to. That tail is kind of rubbery, and I brought, here it is. The best way to explain how it feels is just to pass this around. It's just a little prop that somebody picked up. We'll start here, move it around. The underside of it is really soft and kind of actually feels like her fur, and the other side of it is kind of leathery, and that's what the tail feels like, rubbery or leathery, however you want to say it. So it doesn't have any fur on it. Now, the fur on a beaver is basically like having a built-in wetsuit. Anybody wear wetsuits when they go swimming? The water here in California is real cold. Right? Well, having that, her fur is so dense that when she dips into the water, sometimes it doesn't even hit her skin until she's been really soaked and submerged for a few minutes. And so it is kind of like wearing a wetsuit. It keeps her dry and warm in the frigid waters where they live. But the tail doesn't have any fur because it's used for so many things and having and all swing. So I said that she uses it to steer when she's swimming, that's easy, but she also uses it to pack in mud when they're making their dams and they cut down those trees, they build their little lodges, they put mud in between, just like we use cement, and they use a little tail to slap it down. So we have been greeted by her friend River. This is exciting for me. It's exciting for you. But this is what we've been introducing Justine to River. Oh, you're getting to see some really natural behavior that beavers do when they're kind of introducing themselves to each other. That looks like sumo wrestling, doesn't it? Anybody ever watch sumo wrestling?
I love sumo wrestling.
And they're not hurting each other like at all. And so I'll explain. This Dean came to live with us, gosh, 15 years ago now. She's an older beaver, and she came to us from the Minnesota Zoo. But River came to live with us just a couple of years ago, so she's much younger. However, when River came to live with us, we noticed that Justine was very interested in all the smells that River was giving off. She knew there's another beaver in the area. And so River, when he got comfortable and feeling more safe about coming out and doing presentations in front of all of you, he kind of would smell Justine. And how did we know this? Well, sometimes River would just leave stage before we asked him to go find Justine. Sometimes Justine, who has 15 years of experience being on the stage and knows he can't stay with her care specialist, would leave us to go find River. So we knew that there was definite interest. So what we've been doing is we've been putting different smells from each beaver, urine, hay, browse that each of them have had, and sharing them, putting them in each other's different habitats, moving them. Like here, River, you can live in Justine's habitat for a little while. Here, Justine, you can live in River's for a little while. And then, recently, oh, sorry, I don't know why I did that. Barely touched. I know, I scared him, of course. There it goes. I didn't do anything, I swear. So now we've been introducing them and taking them on kind of what we call a new together, which just like when you meet a friend right away, you're not best friends, but you are very interested in someone when you get a chance to meet them. So that was kind of cool. All right, well, back to beavers. I started saying earlier how important they are to our environment. Have you guys learned the word keystone species yet? The older one. Keystone species is just a species that other wildlife depend on to survive. And the way that beavers are keystone species is basically because they build those dams and they build their lodges. They build the lodges, which looks like homes, then they build dams around the lodges to protect themselves. But when they're building the dams, they change the water pathways and they create different habitats for other wildlife, like fish, frogs, birds, all different things have homes because of the beaver. So, if you remove the beaver from their habitat, not only are you taking the home away from the beaver, you're taking homes away from all the other wildlife that get homes because of what the beavers do. So, they're pretty important. I brought this, you can pass this away. This is one of my local friend David made this for us to show you the cool stuff that beavers do with blood. The openings in her ears so that no water can get into her mouth or face or anything when she's swimming. So she's got a built-in set. We already talked about the wetsuit. And yeah, they're just really, really well equipped. And everyone always wants to know how long can they hold their breath. It's somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes, but definitely at least 15 minutes, which is pretty amazing. But they don't breathe through the water. They have lungs like we do. They can hold their breath, and they can slow their heart rate down so that they use less oxygen. That's kind of how they do it. It's pretty neat. I think I can take some questions. I'm really excited you guys get to meet River, though, because he's a youngster, so he's kind of in training, as you would say. Can we take questions? Yeah. Try not to pop this microphone.
And then can we have
older ones?
They'll go first because they have somewhere to be, and we don't.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about beavers? Something that about Justine or River? Go ahead, Chelsea. They are, so she is about 15, 16 already, and River is only 3 or 4, I think, somewhere. So much younger, but again, they're slowly becoming friends. One more question? They can live around 20 years, sometimes a little bit longer in captivity, but in the wild, they're going to live on average of 7 to 10. But she is doing quite well at 16 here because she lives at 3 too. Good question. Go ahead.
Has she listened to Justine's music?
You know what? We have never played her that music before, but if you ever come to our 2 p.m. show and I do the Justine Beaver joke, the adults really like it. Hear it, but no, we haven't played her any music. I'm not sure. They do have excellent sense of hearing, so who knows? Maybe she would jam out. Any other questions over here? You guys get everything you need for your pictures. All right. Photos, and then I'll get some questions over here. Okay. Are they stable, threatened, or endangered? Very good. They are stable. At one point, they were very endangered, but right now they are stable.
So beavers.
Yes. Good question. Excellent question.
It's kind of like Jenga. That was helping.
Yes. Darby used to talk a lot about that. Did you play Jenga? The game Jenga? Okay, yeah. So that was my crazy one. So you know how you pile all the pieces on top of each other in Jenga, and you pull from the bottom, right? But if you pull too many of the Jenga pieces out from the bottom, the whole thing collapses, and then you lose the game. So that's how keystone species work. You pull the keystone species out one by one from their habitat. And sooner or later, so many of them are pulled out of their habitat that the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, Quinn and Alexa, and then we're done.
Okay, Quinn. She is. She is very well trained. She is very smart, and she knows all sorts of stuff. She gets to choose whether she wants to train with us. Looks like she's decided to train really well today. Absolutely. So, go ahead. Yes, please. They can hold their breath for 15 minutes at least, and I've heard sometimes up to 20. And then Alexa. They do. They're predators. They range. They could be owls. They could be coyotes, wolves, mountain lions, bears. Yeah, those things do go after them. The water is the safest place for them to be, and they don't have to worry about getting eaten in the water, except for otters and bears who go in the water. But they do feel safest in the water, and that's why they like to live right in the middle of it.